Johnny. Are you there, Jonathan? Your mic is muted. You're muted, John.
There he is. What's up, Ron?
Not much. Not at my
I'm
age.
unmuted now, I think. How's the new spot treating you?
Nice. Saw another gator the other day.
Really? Big one?
Oh, yeah. 11 feet, 10 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, they're huge around here. Hungry, too.
Insane. Craziness.
As long as they stay in the canal, I don't care.
Right. Where does the canal feed to? Just right to the bigger bodies of water? Or?
No, all different canals. It's like, it was supposed to go to the Gulf, but the DEC stopped it before they finished the subdivision years ago. Yeah, they're all interconnected.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot
Crazy.
of them.
How are we doing, guys?
Good. How are you, Isaiah?
Doing well.
Doing good. Doing good. Just getting my slides pulled up here.
Did you hear we got Cindy? Who was it? Yeah, Cheryl today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. She actually, just give our audience some reference here. We're talking about our brokerage here, where with Realty Home Advisors, we're still obviously actively in the business and recruiting and looking for good talent. And actually, Cheryl, I don't know if you know this, but Cheryl originally said no to Kyle.
No.
And, what's that?
I know she did.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. He told you the story. That's awesome. What do you think? She just had a few questions she needed to think about. Lots of questions.
But she got them all answered. So between Kyle and I think she was thrilled. So supposed to get your license today or tomorrow.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, how's everybody doing? We got hi Donnie, hi Crystal, hi Dvorka, Christina. What's up? How we doing?
How's it going?
Good. Jonathan's in his new house. He's got his little.
I got my new office. I got my whiteboard.
His new office. His little whiteboard in the background. Right. We don't get to see that cool. We don't get to see that cool fake outside
background anymore.
So hey, Beatty, how you doing? Doing good?
Great. Yep.
Awesome. Good. Is Mark going to hop on with us, Christina?
I'm on. For some reason, I'm having trouble. My video won't connect.
Oh, that's okay. We love looking at your scenic mountain in Phoenix or whatever that is.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I'll get on in a second. I'm just working on it. I might jump off real quick to try to fix it.
Okay, that's cool. Clara, if you're on, I need to get sharing rights to my screen. So if you could pull that up.
Should be all set now.
Okay, good. All right, Jonathan, any updates quick that you can think of that our clients need to know that you've been working on in the past or this past week?
The book should be in the mail very soon. So anybody who submitted their address last week, keep an eye out. Of course, with the Postal Service running the way it is, it might take a little bit of time to get there, but they are on their way. So everyone who submitted their information, keep an eye out for that sales journal coming your way. And other than that, just wanted to see if anybody had any feedback, if they started their own ads yet. I haven't seen any one-on-one Facebook sessions booked yet. So just a quick reminder to everyone, if you are having any kind of trouble or would you like to do a quick review of the new Facebook add-on feature, make sure you submit a ticket to support@rapsuccess.com, letting us know that you'd like a one-on-one training session, and we would love to sit down and do that with you.
Awesome. That's good. How about let's talk about the workshops a little bit, because a lot of them might not know about the new workshops that we rolled out. So
if anybody's interested and you like this format of training, we actually started doing it even more. So you're, of course, going to be able to tune into Chris Feck every morning and Mark in the afternoon doing the live prospecting. But now we are also starting a 4-call series for anyone who would like to really buckle down and know everything there is to know about our program, how to use all of the features, hosted by one of our tech specialists, John Lehman, and then myself as well, jumping on there too. We're going to be sending out a mass email very soon, as well as text messages and other ways for you to join. And if anybody would like to participate and really drill down and get some more advanced training on everything that you can do with our program. We're going to be running that every single Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, in a series, again, of 4 different trainings. And they'll be set up just like this one here with a live audience. You guys can ask questions along the way. And all of that will be available to you very, very soon, starting next week.
Awesome. That's great. Any questions quick before we get into today's session on prospecting and lead conversion?
Donnie had a question about the marketing plan. I believe that was posted in the Facebook group, but Clara, maybe you can drop that in chat again for anyone who missed it inside of there. We want to make sure we can get that in everybody's hands too.
Is that the sales and marketing plan, the general one that we use? Is that what she's talking about?
I believe there was another one on top of that we talked about 2 weeks ago. I will double check and go through my notes though.
Okay. Okay, got it. So Donnie, just make sure we're on the same page. The one that we train off of and we teach that everything's in is this one right here. This is like the main sales and marketing workbook. It has a 12-month plan broken down into it. Do you have access to this, Donnie, in the masterclass?
He isn't sure. So Donnie, what I can do is I'll make sure I send you that link again, and we can review that. TheUltimatelySlistingMachine.com. You can log in. It had the video trainings on the left side and the books right below it on the right side. I'll make sure I can get that back in your hands again.
Yep. So this is Donnie basically, or for anybody that has not been through this yet, this walks you through step-by-step how to use this section here, walks you through step-by-step on how to use the sales and marketing plan. And a detailed breakdown on how to execute on it, which you can download the plan here. This right here is a tracking system. So you can track your progress with the plan. So you can go through methodically and say, hey, you know, this is what look at all the sales and marketing activities that I'm doing or not doing. And it has them broken down in detail there, what those activities should look like. And then these are all your scripts and dialogues. And actually a lot of which we're going to be diving in here today. We're going to be going over not only the prospecting scripts, but listing presentations with this series. So you can find that here. And then you have your educational resources here, all in that front page. So this is kind of the starter page here with the class, and it walks you through step by step on how to make sure that you're taking full advantage of the sales and marketing plan in conjunction with the technology. As you go to execute on the plan and you get stuck with tech, then those workshops are there to back you up. Okay, so you can hop on those workshops where one of our techs will walk you through step by step on how to execute on the plan. Jonathan, anything you want to add to that?
No, if you're interested in participating in those and you don't see the email coming over right away, again, just make sure you submit a ticket to support@rapsuccess.com. We will reach out to you and make sure you get signed up for either the morning or the afternoon class for the first call. And then we'll, of course, follow up with you after that to make sure you keep the education going.
That's great. That's awesome. All right. So this is something if you go back into the sales and marketing workbook, if you haven't been in there in a minute, we've added some additions to this where we want to make it crystal clear what to expect over basically a rotation of 12 months with us. This first 90 days, this is what Jonathan these are what Jonathan and his team are going to walk everybody through in those workshops, a deep dive into the business plan, unique value propositions, making sure your multi-channel marketing is working, making sure that you have your farming strategy set up for you. Make sure that if you want to utilize Facebook ads for marketing your listings or to generate leads, make sure that's up and running for you. Help you launch the strategic alliance campaign, which is where you engage other business services in the community to give you referrals. Make sure you know how to use your publishing plan with that calendar, right? And then something new we got coming out, which is really exciting. We're going to teach you guys how to do buyer and seller virtual events, to actually hold a virtual event to get buyers and sellers on a Zoom meeting and host a really powerful virtual event. Because obviously because of COVID, we're not doing a lot of those in person. So this is a kind of transitioning into a new series. We're starting a brand new series called Prospecting and Sales Secrets. And essentially it's going to be a 7-week series. It's going to take a really deep dive into adopting cutting edge prospecting methodologies that aren't just theoretical, but actually what we've proven and tested over 5 years through millions of phone calls and a whole lot of listings closed, literally almost $5 billion worth of listings closed through our broker-to-broker network that we've created, and that the agents on that network have actually closed. And so getting like a nitty-gritty deep dive into nurturing and cultivating, how if you do that wrong, how you're missing out on a lot of leads, and then figuring out, just really taking deep dive in what your team's doing, if you have a team, to make sure they're following best practices when it goes to confirming appointments, the finer things that make a big difference. Okay. So I'll tell you a quick story. And this is the type of thing we're going to talk about in training. Is I'm working one-on-one with one of our clients, and her name is Terry Bias, and she noticed that a lot of her appointments were coming in on the weekend, and then Monday would come around and the agents wouldn't actually call those appointments until Monday in the afternoon and sometime on Tuesday. So literally, she had a gap between a 48-hour gap between when a lead was coming in to when it was getting its first touch. And so statistically, if you're not calling a new lead when it comes from Zillow within 48 hours, you have you decrease your chances of converting that lead 50%. So that's an example of what we're going to be kind of getting into outside of, like, once we get through the core of the prospecting and the listing presentation best practices that we're going to go over. Once we get through the core of that, what you could expect, the other topics that we're going to be around. Now, getting into what we're going to talk about here, we have a 7-step system that we've actually never taught to the outside public until today. You guys are the first, the first group of people that we've ever taught this to the outside public. Until then, it's been proprietary to anyone that's in our organization, and to any, whether it be one of our agents or one of our inside sales agents. And what we did is we made a decision that we're going to start training it to the public because of the power of it. And just so you guys know, this system is accountable for moving in the past 5 years over $5 billion in transactions through the economy and through our network. And it's something actually I have to kind of tell you the backstory on it, and it is a little personal. It's a little personal, but I think I owe it to you guys to know the backstory on kind of how the system developed. And basically, like, what happened in 2014 when I went to start my brokerage, I was taking a risk because I left a 6-figure job, and I did have some money saved up, but my wife gave me about 6 months to really figure out how to make something work. And my partners that I actually was engaged with, and I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience where anyone had a partner that you partnered with, and then once you got into it, you ended up doing most of the work in that partnership, right? And you're like, wait a second, this is not what we agreed to. Has anyone ever had any kind of experience like that, right? Some way, shape, or form. And that's kind of what happened to me. Is I took this huge risk. I put a bunch of money into this fledgling brokerage that wasn't making a profit. And next thing you know, I'm doing most of the work, right? And so I had to roll up my sleeves and go from, a management position, trying to figure out how to recruit and build, to spending half of my day in the trenches and figuring out a way to, because I couldn't depend on my partners to generate any business, really. And so I'd find myself trying to figure it out. And I did have extensive prospecting and sales experience, so that did play well to figuring it out. But when we first got started, I was in we're in a beautiful 6,000 square foot space now. But when I first got started in 2014, we were in this, like, converted house, and we had a corner of that house, kind of like part of the corner of the house, and then bleeding down into this basement with like 4 windows, right? And so, but it's what we had, and it's what we started with, and the upstairs was kind of for our clients, and then we would work kind of downstairs, and oftentimes it was just me alone, like in this freaking basement, and like I'm sitting there, and I'm prospecting, and I didn't want to spend money on a coach at that time because I had a lot of money going out on other things. And so I had to figure out a way to improve my prospecting skills and figure out a way to be really self-reflective. And over the course of between 2014 and up to today, through this system, we've made over 30 million calls, millions of voicemails, directed voicemails, millions of postcards, 66,000 appointments have been set. And like I mentioned, we're actually, this stat is out of date now. We're knocking on the door of $5 million and in closings, and then 75 interviews have came from that initial process that I was trying to build out back when I was in the basement and try to make it work. And essentially the premise of that process can be boiled down to this sheet you see on my screen. So if you look at this document, okay, you can see here there's essentially 7 steps to this prospecting and sales methodology. And one of the things, I don't know if you've ever experienced in sales and marketing training, or like specifically if you've been into other sales organizations and you've you've gone through that. A lot of it is very theoretical. It's very good, but it's theoretical and it's hard to apply practically. And I was determined in that moment where it was basically either I had to go back and get a job or I had to figure out how to generate business. I had to come up with a system, and this is basically what came out of that. And it became very practical for me, because if I didn't get the results, right, it was up to me. Nobody else was going to cover me at that time. And so we've literally, through this simple system that we're going to go through with you over the next 7 weeks, have had agents completely change their lifestyle. One of them is actually Amanda Hardesty. I'm hoping to get her on here with us at some point. Jonathan, do you remember how much money she's actually made through this system to date? I think it was like
enough that she's been with us for 4 years and has no plan on ever stopping.
Yeah. So she
lot.
reported to somebody, just so you guys know, she's reported to somebody that she made $80,000 in GCI just from us, from this, integrating this system outside of her referrals and everything else she's doing. $80,000 in GCI. She went out and bought a new car, new house, or she was able to do some funding for her kids' college. And
I remember she was sending us pictures of her new Mercedes SUV when she bought it. And she said, I believe so. She actually said she actually saw a dramatic difference in her rolling up in that versus she was driving just a normal, it was a nicer car. I think it was an Infiniti, but rolling up in that car, she said people were just treating her differently on listing appointments at that point. And from there, it's just all snowballed to more success with her.
So this is the basis of it. And to give you guys to know, give you an idea, know what to expect over the next 7 weeks. We're going to use this scorecard and look at the scorecard every time we go through a prospecting script. So we're going to take a deep dive into a prospecting script and then toggle over to a listing presentation, and then going back to a prospecting script and then toggling over to listing presentation until we get this whole thing so well ingrained that literally you guys feel like you can overcome any objection, any circumstance. And more importantly, my real goal is, if you're building a team, you have a system to train and coach your team. Because it's one thing for you to be good, right, Ron? It's one thing for an individual agent to develop the skills, but the second you try to start growing a team, how simple you can keep a complex topic determines their ability to grow. So if you're filter this 2 different ways, learn it not only just for yourself to improve your skills, but also to have a potential platform to actually have something that you can walk your team through. So Mark, how do you, how, and I know Ron uses this on a little bit of a different way, but Mark, how do you use this on a daily basis when you're prospecting? So talk first about your personal experience with it and how you use this when you're prospecting and when you're coaching your team to prospect.
Okay, perfect. So I'll start back at how this became important to me. I went through probably 10 different sales schools between 2000 when I just got out of college and now, right? I went through all kinds of sales schools, right? Just like Isaiah said, very conceptual, very theoretical. But what I found was after all those sales schools, 15 years of sales, and I was top salesman at a number of different companies with conceptual training. And I came to this, right? And there's a 7-step plan that the first 5 steps of this 7-step plan takes me through every single phone call that I've ever been on, right? And I frankly wish I would have had it previously. And so take it to today. This has dramatically helped me in sales for our current company, and it also helps me to ramp up as someone that trains the ISA team. I put the 7 steps in front of them, right? And let's take the first 5, because typically the first 5 happen in every phone call that you will do. The other ones are related to follow-up and how you consistently go through and time manage and go on your metrics. So first 5, when I get off of a call and I'm training an ISA, I can look at those 7 steps and I can say, I said everything I needed to say to that person. My urgency was there. I said all the right things and I lost that call. Why did I lose that call? Rapport jumps right into my head, and I can go into rapport and I can look at, did I match that person on tone? Did I have their pace down? Was I faster or slower than them? Hesitation. Did I sound scripted, or was I like kind of using those little spots in there that we make it sound interesting? Modulation. Was I changing all those different things? Was my pace the same, or was my tone the same all the way through? Mirror and match. Did I sound a little bit like them? You know, did I mirror and match their personality? Right. Finding common ground. Did I spit out something that just happens to be like, I happen to be like them or have an interest like them because something came up in conversation? That would be just from going through some quick stuff in the building rapport section. I can see that immediately. Right. Now I can also look at where I screw up when it comes to building rapport and creating desire, or I'm sorry, number 2, building value, and 3, creating desire. If I get off a phone call, I know I had a ton of rapport. That person really connected with me, and most of what is in number 1 was correct. And that person also said, I have an interest in selling, but I've got, I'm not really ready at this time. I know that I go right to urgency, and I look at tell stories of past clients, create curiosity and doubt, finding and speaking to their motivation. I know I missed them at that point if there was some interest there, but they didn't take an appointment and didn't want to talk to my agent. Same thing goes for value. If they're thinking, hey, I've got this other agent at the end of that phone call, I didn't do well in getting my value about either our brokerage, myself, or the agent that I'm looking to get. So it's very simple for me to tie in using these 7 steps where that call went wrong rather than it being so theoretical. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So Ron, how do you use this? How do you use this 7 steps as far as like when it goes to working with an agent and working through their listing presentation, or if they're going out in a listing presentation, how are these fundamental principles getting integrated into that process?
It's basically the same thing, except you've already got the appointment. Now you've got to make it, you've got to come to a closing. You've got to make sure that, in fact, that you have developed rapport, because when you develop rapport, you develop trust, and you have to have the trust. It's like, okay, if you have somebody in front of you, Isaiah, and you can feel tension, and you don't care for them, you don't trust them. Yep. But if you've got somebody in front of you and you love them, you're talking to them, they love you, there's trust building right there because of that connection.
And guys, with what Ron's saying, one important point: filter this through people that you haven't met yet. When he's saying this, we're not talking about referrals, right, Ron?
Correct. Referrals are laydowns. If you can't get a referral, you're in the wrong business.
Right.
Trust me.
So building rapport and qualifying somebody with somebody that you haven't met, we all know, is a totally different art, right? Absolutely. Especially when it comes to geofarming. Mm-hmm. If you haven't done geofarming before, or if you haven't done for sale by owners expireds before, it is a completely different art. So just, I want to make sure we're all filtering this the right way when we're hearing this information, right? So good.
Okay, so then your presentation itself has got to show all the value you bring to the table, but it's got to be pointed right at them. It's all about them. It's not about you. It's all about them. And what value do you bring to help them with their situation? And then you've got to be able to create the same desire. They want to work with you, or they want to do this. You've created so much value. You've created such rapport and some trust. And in your conversation now, they have a desire either to work with you, to list their house, whatever it is you're trying to do. And don't be afraid to trial close them. I mean, people just, they trial close, it worked, and they don't react. I mean, if something like, we teach our agents that when they're getting ready to view the property, they say to the seller, show me around the house and point out things to me that you feel it's important for me to point out. So when I bring a buyer through here, I want to be able to point that out to them. That's a subtle trial close. If they say to you, what do you mean you bring a buyer through? You blew it, the way you put it. But if they just let it go and start pointing stuff out to you, you should start to be thinking, did I bring the right paperwork? Do I have enough ink in my pen? Because I'm going to list this house tonight. All right. And these are things. Those trial closes are so important. And then overcoming objections. Isaiah, you and I talk about this constantly. Yep. People just don't get it. An objection is a statement. A question is a question. It's a yes, no, maybe, whatever, but an objection. But here you go, trial closed. Is that all that's bothering you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? If I make you feel comfortable about this situation right now, are you ready to get started with me today? And handle it. And people say, well, you ask them, is there anything else that might be bothering you? Yeah, I want all their objections at once so I can get this off the table. So, but the key here is that you've got to be a master at handling objections. And how do you do that? As you said earlier in this program, you get scripts, you take them home, you memorize them, throw the book away and start saying it in your own words. How do you believe what you're saying? 5 people can handle the same objection and say the same thing 5 different ways.
Right. Awesome. And so when you go to write your listing presentation, this can also act as a checkpoint to see how good your listing presentation is if it has this psychology built into it. Oftentimes I've analyzed listing presentations and they've been missing huge opportunities to, for example, to build rapport. No family picture, right? In the beginning, a small example of building rapport. Or they've been missing opportunities with stories. They're not creating desire or urgency through third-party stories. They don't have any stories included into their listing presentation on how they helped a client that was maybe similar to their situation or whatever. It's not built into the process. So you can go down through those things and use this as a checklist to make sure you have the most powerful presentation on the planet that's going to convert at the highest level. Give you another story, Ben Lang, and then we're going to dive into it. We're going to, Ben Lang is somebody else that I work with personally. On cold leads, he was closing about 35 to 40%. Once he started implementing this strategy into his listing presentation, his closing went up to almost 70% on a cold lead. For sale by owners and expireds, he's hovering between 65 and 70%. That's the difference. And that's huge for somebody you don't know. Amazing closing rate for somebody you don't know. So that's the power of this system. So we're going to have a little fun, if that's okay with you guys. We're going to have some fun here moving forward. And I definitely need participation from all of our clients that are on this. We're going to copy and paste this link into the chat. So if Mark, maybe you could help me out with that. We're going to copy and paste this link into the chat. We want you to pull this up on your screen, and then we're going to do some role play, and we're going to work with us, and we want you to grade us, okay? And the reason why we want you to do that is because we want, number one, you to be engaged. Number two, we want everybody to start thinking through the psychology of this process and understanding that there's no 2 calls that are the same. There's no 2 presentations that are the same. So it's going to be handled differently. One important point. These are not necessarily steps, even though there's numbers on them, right? Every call is a little bit different. You don't just build rapport in one step, right? It's throughout a conversation, right? Building value is different. All these things happen throughout the actual call. So when you're grading and scoring, keep that in mind, is how well overall that they work through these things. And what's beautiful about this is that you realize very quickly that this is a never-ending journey towards mastery, and nobody, even the greatest, is never there. Once you start using this scorecard, you realize how much opportunity you have for growth and improvement, which is exciting because that means you have an opportunity to improve your business and make more commissions. So with that said, if we can get the link pasted in there, pull it up, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the geographical farming script, and then in future sessions, we're going to work through for sale by owners and expireds. Then we're going to go to internet leads, and we're going to go to SOI, and I know I'm forgetting other types of scripts, open house scripts. We're going to work through every single type of script, and we're going to go through, use this scorecard as our point of reference for grading, have healthy, awesome, fun interaction as we go on through it. So how does that sound, guys? Does that sound fun? So Mark's smiling. He's like, yeah, of course it sounds fun to you guys. You don't have to, you don't have to worry about it. So, but anyway, so let's start off. Here's how I want to do this. After the role play is done, I want to hear from one of our panelists that I'll call on, and then I want to hear from one of our clients, and the clients need to participate, okay, in on that. So Mark and Christina, whenever you're ready, and Christina, I'd like you to share the script that you're working off of so they can see your screen as you're going down through it, so they can get an idea of why you're saying what you're saying. If you pull that script up, that'd be great.
Okay.
Do you know how to share?
Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted to get the script on the right monitor here.
Yep. And hopefully everyone, yep, it looks like everyone's got the script, the 7-step lead conversion scorecard up in front of them, which is good. So that's great.
Okay.
And if you don't, pull it up.
Can you guys see the script?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Just want to make sure I have a couple other windows open too, so make sure I've got the right thing there for you.
It's all good.
All right, so it sounds like Mark and I are doing a role play.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, Mark, do you going to be the
I'll be the
potential...
I'll be the homeowner first, and then we'll switch.
Perfect.
And,
okay.
and just isolate it to one objection, and let's assume that they are interested, so we can have good dialogue.
Sure.
Selling their home, okay. And then I want to work through the top 5 objections before we move on from this script, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Ring ring.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi, is this Mark?
Yeah, that's me. Who's this?
Yeah. Hi, Mark. This is Chris, and I'm just giving you a call on behalf of Realty Home Advisors. How are you today?
Good, Chris. What's going on?
I'm just giving you a call because we just listed and sold a property review, and because of all the buying activity, we know that we've got about 2 or 3 more homes that'll sell in the area quickly as well. I know this might seem like a random question, but I was just curious if you know anyone in the area that might be thinking of selling.
Yeah, actually, I do know about the homes that you had mentioned, but I haven't heard anyone else talk about it. Not that I could think of yet. No.
Okay. You know what? Before I let you go, what about yourself, Mark? Have you considered selling?
Yeah. I mean, we really just started talking about possibly selling again. I wouldn't say that we're ready to throw a sign in or anything like that, but yeah, we've been talking about trying to find another place. We're at the point where we wanted to maybe get out of town a little bit farther.
Okay.
Out in the country a little more.
So still staying in the Rochester area, just a little bit further out with maybe a little bit more elbow room.
Maybe a little less taxes.
Oh, and a little less taxes. Okay, that's reasonable. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
How long have you been in your current property there?
We've been here about 10 years.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, we find that typically a home sells anywhere from 1 to 3 months. I mean, so if you could sell in that time frame, do you think you'd be able to pull things together and make that move?
That might be a little quick, 1 to 3. Being that we just talked about it, I don't even know if we've come up with a time frame yet. We haven't really started looking where we would end up. It's been
Okay.
some pretty early conversations on it. And frankly, Chris, we do know somebody that we've used in the past. So I think if we did do anything, it would probably be with somebody else.
Okay. And obviously, if you own a home, somebody in real estate, might be a friend or a family member. What I'd like to offer to you is, since you've been there for 10 years, I'm sure there's been a significant change in the property value. Right now we're finding properties selling faster and at higher prices than ever. I don't know if you've caught the news or read anything in the newspaper, but we'd love to be able to at least come out and give you an idea of what your current home value is based on recent comps. Would that be something that you would be interested in?
I might be interested in what you guys thought it was worth. I just want to be upfront. I know it's a lot of work doing all that. I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to send the impression that I was like ready to list number one, or that I would end up listing with you guys if I did.
And Mark, I appreciate the honesty, and in return, I guess I just ask that if we did this for you, just that you would consider us at least if you were going to list the property, or if you knew somebody else that was going to list, pass our name along. We're not looking for commitment. We're looking more, to build some relationships and be there as a resource for our community. So we'd love the opportunity to come over and do this for you if you would just consider us in the long run when you do go to sell.
Yeah, that's
Does that
fair.
sound reasonable?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. I can actually see one of our team members doesn't live too far from you, and I could have them swing by this weekend. It is best for us to get a look at the inside of the property when we come up with the market values. It just gives us the most accurate number. Is Saturday or Sunday best for you?
Usually I'm better Saturday. Sunday,
Okay.
Sunday's church day and all that. So.
Okay, well, we can absolutely do Saturday. And are you more of an early guy or later in the day guy?
Early afternoon probably be good.
Okay. All right. It looks like Angelo, who's on our team, could either stop by at 1 unless 2 o'clock's better for you.
You could pencil me in for 1. I'd probably rather talk to him first though,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not a problem at all. I can actually have him give you a call later on this evening. Will you be around, say, after 6 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, he can try me.
Okay. What I'll do is have him give you that call, and we'll pencil you in for Saturday at 1. And I also have your email here, but I want to check and see. Sometimes the information's not up to date. It looks like it says mark@howell.com. Is that correct?
Okay. Let's
Yeah,
write
that's
it off right there if that's okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Great. So let's look at the 7 steps. Hopefully it's up on your screen. Ron, let's start off with building rapport and qualifying on a scale 1 to 10, and a little bit of a feedback on that.
Well, I think she kept him talking, that's for sure. And I know he wasn't making it totally easy for her, but it wasn't really making it very hard. I think that the rapport was there was really no rapport. I mean, to me, there was just talking about getting the appointment. I mean, why we called, what we're doing, but there was no rapport. There was nothing as far as anything personal, or it was a business call. Not that that's a bad thing.
So one of the things we recommend when to try to slip into it, and sometimes it is tough to do on every call, but we call it the Ford principle. So for our clients, if you want to write this down. Oh, hey, April, thanks for joining us. But if you want to write this down, the Ford principle is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So within the Ford principle, one of the things that you want to do is throughout your call, try to find ways to connect with them through around one of those things: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So or around their pain or their motivation, right? So that's another way to build rapport, is relating to their pain and their motivation. So talk about that, Ron. Did we get her pain? Did we get his pain and motivation, or motivation?
Yeah, he didn't have either. We knew that. We could tell. He doesn't need to move, doesn't want to move. If he does, he wants to get out further, get a little bit further out, whatever.
I threw taxes in there.
Threw taxes in there.
Yeah. So there was something that there was a road that maybe could have been developed.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, you're in a world though, but it all would all depend. Maybe you're going to go somewhere where the taxes are even worse. I mean,
Yeah.
Taxes are tricky because they do change. And, never go down; they always go up. But but bottom line is, I mean, the call is built. The script is built so that you can get things started and see if there's interest. And again, she stayed with it. But she, and then the part I really liked was she at least got him to agree to an appointment, and then because he balked, he still agreed to a phone call. But the thing that I heard Mark say was, "You can try me," and that would tell me right away that I'll try you, but you're not going to be there when Ange calls you. So
Yeah, Donnie. I'm sorry. I apologize, Ron.
You're fine,
Donnie just put a message in here. I think this is really good. So his human incited her to relax for a moment, and then the laughter about the less taxes created a strong moment of rapport. Where he felt like she might have lost it was when he brought up Sunday as a church day, and that'd be an opportunity to potentially build a little rapport around a kind of like a recreational event. I don't know if recreation is the best word, but an event that's kind of a family thing. So good. That's good feedback, Donnie.
Donnie jumped way ahead of me because I was going to say the church thing was great common ground. She could have really.
Right.
Said, yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. Just by saying something like that, or because, you could have said, oh, what church do you go to? Not that you care, but it's just trying to build that rapport.
Right. That's right.
Way
Even if it's for 30 seconds, something little.
Like thunder.
Cool. Awesome. Donnie says sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
Donnie says sorry. That's funny.
This picture's going to be up here next week.
Hey, there's no perfect call. We get that.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's certainly no perfect role play.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ron, any other feedback you want to give before we move to the?
Other than that, no. She stayed on her course. She stayed on her point. She went for the close. She got him to agree, even though it was a little iffy. But at least she had a phone number and hopefully an appointment. She said, I like what she said. I'm going to pencil you in anyway. And meaning, okay, you kind of stuck here, pal. And I like it. That was a good quote there, Chris. That was a good quote.
That's
Very cool.
right.
Pencil you in has gotten us a lot of listings, actually.
It has.
It really has.
Very cool. Very cool. Yep. That's
You want us to flip it and go the other way again, or?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's flip it around. This time, this time I'd like to at least get through a couple different objection cycles around that objection that you put out. So if the objection is, I know another agent, right? that I might do something with. Let's make sure that objection comes up again, because you said it once. She sidestepped it, which is really good. There's a technique we call it sidestep, where you don't, if it comes out earlier in the conversation, you sidestep it, ask some questions. But usually if it's a real objection, it'll come up again. So let's pretend like it's a real objection this time, right?
Yep. Take it head on.
And get it. Well, not at first, because you should, your sidestep is good there. You want to, not make it a big deal out of something that's not a big deal, because we don't even get ahead of ourselves either, because nobody's even asking to list the property, right? So
right.
We want to make sure we're very careful what we're handling, what we're not, unless they bring it up again. So that's a whole nother training, by the way, is just because something comes up earlier on in the conversation, it might be a concern, a question, an objection, but it might be too early to address it head on, because we're literally just talking about a discovery meeting to come over and do a property valuation and see if it makes sense to potentially work together. Right. Because remember, this is a first call. This is top of the funnel lead, right? This is not a warmer lead. This is a very first contact lead, right?
It is ice cold.
It's ice cold, right? So keep that in mind.
Yeah,
right?
More have to have a lot of knee jerks and soft objections in the beginning of the calls.
Yes, and the key is to get past the knee jerks and soft objections enough to build a relationship to get in the door. It's the key. So don't get me wrong. You're going to come across some that are hot and ready to go, and you got to know that based on their pain and motivation, and then be able to adjust, right, a little bit. So, but anyway, I'll stop talking now. You guys go ahead.
Okay. Hello?
And just to clarify, Mark, am I playing the prospector again?
No, you're playing the homeowner.
I want to make sure. Okay.
You're good.
Hello.
Hi, I'm hoping to reach the property owner at 1515 Main Street.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, is this Chris?
Yeah.
Chris, my name's Mark Howell. I'm calling on behalf of Realty Home Advisors, and I was calling because we just listed and sold a property near you. Because of the buying activity has really picked up, homes are selling multiple offers, going above asking a lot of times. We know 2 or 3 other properties may sell quickly in your neighborhood. I just want to know I know it's kind of a random question. Just wondering if you knew anybody that might be thinking of selling.
That is a little random. Honestly, not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, fair enough. I know it's kind of an out of the blue question to get. But before I let you go, have you yourself thought of selling? Obviously, at the right price.
Well, I mean, I've heard that the market is pretty good. Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess I hadn't thought about it, but you do bring up a interesting point. But honestly, if I did consider listing, I've got somebody I would use, Mark.
Okay, it sounds like you've at least thought about it. So if you said you had somebody that you would use, but you also said that it sounded like you were considering something in there. Have you paid attention? Have you heard about the local real estate market? Let's start there. What's been going on there?
I mean, I heard that people are getting a lot of money for their house, and that there's lots of buyers. So I've heard it's really active right now. Okay.
So locally, we've seen homes at certain neighborhoods have gone 20 to 50 offers within days. Okay. So it's pretty amazing what some people are getting 10 to 15% above asking, right? I wouldn't know exactly if your home fits that, but you happen to be in the neighborhood where we've seen that kind of activity. So if you could throw it out there, would there be any reason that you would consider moving?
I guess if we could find another place to go, that's another part that does worry me with that type of activity. And also
that there might not be something available.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also getting the right price,
Yeah, right. People do say that a lot, but everyone that's worked with us lately has been very happy of what they were able to find. Just curious, what would be behind if you guys, is it you and your husband?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, awesome. I'm recently married myself. Good for you. That's great. Would it be about staying in the same school district for you? Do you have kids?
Yeah, we'd have to be in the same school district. I have a freshman and a senior, so that it wouldn't go over well if we moved out of the district.
Okay. So, in subjects that have come up when you guys have even talked about the market personally, what would you guys look for locally if you did stay, or if you,
Uh,
I mean, if you moved but you stayed in the same school district?
I mean, I definitely would like something a little bit bigger.
Okay.
With teenagers comes more teenagers and a
You have
little
more on the
need
way?
for. No, but they bring their friends.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you got to have the whole harem. But of course. Yeah, I know what that's like. It
Yep.
happens with kids and dogs over here.
Oh yes.
So how big were you thinking? You have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath now. Did you think you guys want more bedrooms, or is there, office in there? What do you think you'd
um,
use the extra space for?
well, right now, I'm in a split, and so we don't have a huge basement area. I wouldn't mind a basement that we could refinish and one more bedroom and a full bath because my teenage daughter spends a lot of time in the bathroom.
Oh, yes, teenage daughter in the bathroom. I hear that. That goes for my wife and when the family is over for sure. It's hard to get in there. That's the beauty of double sinks too.
Yeah, we
Yep.
don't have that going either, and
Right.
she's 17, and oh, let me tell
Yep.
you, can never get in there.
Right. I hear you. Okay. Well, here's where the market's at, Christina, that could bode well for you. Okay. Homes are typically going, like I said, 10 to 15% above list price, and we've seen it happen right in your neighborhood, right? So it's definitely possible for you. Have you had a comparative analysis lately that went over what your home was worth? Well, I guess first, how long have you been there?
Actually, we've been here about 13 years actually
Okay.
already. And one of my neighbors, he's actually an agent, so he sends me, the monthly email that tells me what's happening with the
Hmm.
market and kind of a
Okay.
ballpark of what my house might be worth.
Right. But it sounds like you don't know exactly what it would be worth in this market.
No, I mean just the email that he sent through. It seems pretty general.
Just an email. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if you knew what your home was worth and we showed you a couple of options that would give you that basement, that extra bathroom, some more space in the house, and depending on how much you could get for your house, that maybe that's an option for you. I would imagine you'd be at least interested in talking about that, right?
Yeah, I might consider it. Like I said though, I do have a friend that is an agent, so I don't want to waste anybody's time. With them coming over here.
Right. I understand you might not want to waste someone's time if you have a friend. But here's the thing. Have you ever done any business with that friend in the past in real estate?
No.
Okay. When you buy things, I would imagine you typically get second opinions on most things that you buy. You don't just take one, right?
I try to get a second opinion. My husband sometimes can, shoot from the hip, but
Right. Right. I get that. I've made that mistake, and it's actually hurt me a couple times just pulling the trigger without that second opinion. And what we see is this is the biggest experience, the biggest financial decision that people make. So there's literally no commitment in this, Chris. We like to meet our local homeowners. It definitely surprises me that if you have somebody in real estate, they might not have been talking with you about what your home's actually worth because home prices have risen so much. So I'm not saying that you have to be ready to make a decision, right? But we like to meet our local homeowners and show them what the activity in the marketplace would specifically do to their home with somebody that has a dream like you do to have a little bit bigger home, stay in the same school district, and maybe have that extra bathroom and that finished basement. So, I just like to have them come out, talk with you. I imagine if there was no commitment involved, it wouldn't bother you to talk with one of our folks about what your home's worth.
I mean, how can I say no to that pitch?
Right. Right. Exactly. So I'll have them come out. If you're good,
Let's stop it right there.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
good stuff. Okay, Ron, let's hear from you, and then we'll hear from one of our client panelists. So let's start it from the top and kind of work our ways through step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Boy, he's a persistent young man, that Mark. No, I think he stayed right on target. You know, he had opportunities to lighten it up, and he took them. You know, he had rapport with her going. He got her in. He was asking her a lot of questions, and he was listening for the answers. That's what I really liked about that. And all the questions, and some of the questions just were about her values, her wants, her needs, her dreams, her I wish type thing, even though all of a sudden now he's got her thinking about something she hasn't even entertained. And now all of a sudden it's becoming something that might be something, you know, boy, I'd like to get my own bathroom, get rid of my daughter, my pop, whatever.
I'm
You know,
I'm actually convinced.
yeah. But again, I mean, you could tell that, you know, sad part about it is, you know, that was cold as cold could be. You know, it was approached as, then the friend in the business came up. And I think that with that said, he bypassed it 3 times. It came up 3 times. He bypassed it 3 times. And then when he finally started to had to get into it, he was stuck. And basically it had to be more, to me, it would have been more like, I can appreciate that. Everybody knows an agent. Everybody does. But again, we want to show you what we can do so that when you do decide to talk to your friend, you can compare apples to apples and see if you have a choice. So why don't we make that choice and come on over and show you at least what we can do. And then if you want to, and you're so inclined, you can call your friend, have them come over and compare service. That's all I ask. And something like that, okay? And that might have got him in the door. But other than that, you know, I think he did well. And, you know, you don't have any kids, huh, Mark?
I have grandkids, but no personal kids myself.
Well,
No.
I'd have rented some for that conversation. Quite frankly, you needed to connect. You could have connected with her one more time. So.
And I appreciate that feedback about how I went in about the agent, because I'm so used to doing it with for sale by owners.
Yeah.
That I think I morphed over a little bit into how I've dealt with for sale by owners in the past, who just tell me that, yeah, I got somebody, you know, and I know they don't have anybody, and I know the guy they're talking about, they never even did a real estate transaction with them.
Right.
So I think when I got that objection, I definitely morphed a little bit, and I should have kept it where you talked about.
Yeah. It's just you know, you went for the 2 opinion situation. I think that was great. Second opinion, but they haven't even had a first one yet. So the key is that you want to be the first opinion so they can compare what you do to that person that they're talking about. That's all.
And this is a really important objection to get down, because if we don't do business with everybody that knows a real estate agent, okay,
right, where are you going?
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not sure who you're going to be working with.
Yeah. So I hear that a lot. I'm being
honestly,
honest about it. Like,
it's an objection that we find a little bit more, I shouldn't say a little bit more, a lot more with the expireds and the for sale by owners. We don't run across it quite as much with Geo and some of the other leads that we deal with. So it's kind of, because usually they're not even, if they're not thinking about selling, they're not thinking about another agent.
Yeah,
when we almost ambush them like that, but it does come up, but just not as frequently.
Where it will come up is when you run into the geo leads that are ranked hot in our database, and they're within that 1 to 3 month cycle, and they've already started looking, and they're doing some research, and they're thinking about different agents. So that's where it will come up. But you're right, it probably doesn't come up as much. And I want you guys to write this down when you're working like Facebook leads or geographical leads. Okay. It's a term I like to call fishing upstream, meaning like you're further up on the sales cycle, right? Than where necessarily all the fish are hanging down by the pond. And there's positives and negatives to that. The benefit of it is you have an opportunity to catch fish that nobody else is going after, or a lot of people aren't staying engaged with over the long haul, right? The negative is if you don't have consistency with it, right? And you just kind of pay for the data or pay for the leads and just let them sit there, right? Then it's pointless. right? So it's just something that's really important to keep in mind. And the exciting thing is, though, is if you nurture these relationships, somebody like a Christina in this situation that truly is thinking about it, and you have a handful of those you're nurturing every single month, you're not going to have a lot of competition. When they do go, they're going to see you first. And it can be in a very exciting opportunity where you can start getting up to that 3 to 5 to 7 extra listings a month, and you start building momentum in the geographical marketing and strategy that we've been teaching overall when it's all starts coming together. And that usually takes a good, it takes time, right? Just fishing upstream takes a little bit more time. But the positive is you don't have a lot of competition, and you have a pool of listings and nobody else is going after, right? And we all know how hard it is to get listings right now, right? And so that's the positive side. And same thing with Facebook leads. Generating seller leads on Facebook, yeah, you got to weed through a little bit more. You got to nurture them a little bit more. But once they get into that buying cycle, once they get further down the funnel from the internet from top of the funnel to middle of the funnel, you're going to get so much business if you stayed in front of them, right? So just to kind of keep that in mind as we're going through this. So it's really good. All right. I'd like to hear from one of our clients. Let's walk through the scorecard. And what are your guys' thoughts, starting out with building rapport, going into building value, creating desire, so on and so forth. I'd like to hear from some participation from some of the clients. It'd be great. Mary said, love the recap. Listing is the key concern for sure. Absolutely. It's cool. Any other feedback from our clients? I want you guys to practice using this scorecard. And I guess while they're typing, Beatty, why don't, from an outsider's perspective that probably really hasn't seen this scorecard a whole lot, I'd love to kind of hear from your perspective as you walk through these 5-7 steps here.
Well, my perspective is I want to send this recording to my sales team. Really good. I want to make 2 comments that I was one an opportunity and one an observation. The observation, I was really impressed with Mark in terms of selling and persuading. A potential prospect, but by engaging in conversation, probing and pushing and opening up opportunities, it now takes a prospect that might have increased their level of interest. And I thought that was just brilliant. The other thing, when Chris was calling Mark, the thing that really hit me is you have a potential prospect, not ready to sell yet, but the value of that person is immense. And I want to share one thing that one of our clients started to do. Whenever he would go on an appointment like that, he would always bring a tin of butter cookies or brownies or whatever's in your area. But he figured that you can get these tins over at Costco for about $8 or $10. And it has a great presentation. But someone who's on a diet will eat the butter cookies, and someone who's not on a diet will eat them. So they're appreciative. And he says he's gone on more appointments where there are other agents also being interviewed, and he would always win the deal. And he said, I can't tell you how many times that homeowner looked at me and said, Stuart, that box of cookies got you the deal. And the whole idea of
right. It's a unique way of building rapport, I think is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, a unique way of building rapport, to come with something of value to establish the relationship, because it really hits home. No pun intended.
Cool. That's awesome. So Mary and Donnie put a comment in here. Donnie said, great approach. He's consistently was moving the conversation forward, but stopping to engage along the way. I felt the same thing. It was a good balance. There was a good push-pull, so to speak, in that conversation. Mary says also the agent's tone and active listening was evident in the conversation. So yeah, I think I could tell you're actively listening, Mark, by how you tied down that appointment, how you tied back the pain and motivation into the close. That's what I was really impressed with, because it's extremely hard to say no to an appointment when you have the pain and motivation leading into it, right?
Yeah.
It becomes very hard to say no to the appointment. So
Right.
really, really, really strong. That was awesome.
Yeah. If I could add to that, why and how, only because I train it so much and the pitfalls that I see, and it's up to you how you do it, right? As an agent, it's up to you how you jot this down however you want. But I find this is the biggest problem right here with people on the phone don't have a pen in their hands and they're trying to remember it all the time. Now, if you're a typer and you'd rather type it while you go, that's fine. But I make sure that I have, 3 pain and motivation, 3 or 4. I don't want like crazy notes. I need a couple of notes on boom, boom, boom. And I can drive that right into my tie down. So right here, I know it's very simple, but I've always got this in my hand. And whenever I see somebody having trouble tying the beginning of the conversation back into the tie down, it's because they're not writing it down.
That's awesome. That's great. And if we could type in, Dvorka said, I like the Ford connection. I agree. You definitely use that strategy. She said, I'm recently married. Congratulations, Dvorka.
Congratulations, Dvorka.
That's awesome. So again, that's Ford, or the Ford principles: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. It's is the kind of like the foundation of building rapport. So, all right, guys, I'm going to take a stab at it. I might be a little rusty. It's been a minute, but we'll go at it. I'll take a stab at it, and we'll go for it. Okay.
Yep.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, who? Yeah.
Oh,
Take it,
Ron.
Ron. Yeah.
Go
Take
ahead,
Ron.
Ron. Beat me up.
Ron.
Go ahead and beat me up. Hello.
No, I'm the seller. You're the prospect.
Well, then go ahead and say hello already. Jeez, let's go. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm hoping to reach the property owner at 1234 4th Street.
Yeah, that's me. How can I help you?
Oh, hi. My name is Isaiah Colton. I'm calling over here at Realty Home Advisors, and I was just giving you a quick call because recently sold a property in your area, sir. And because there was so much buying activity, I'm just reaching out to some people in the neighborhood, and I'm just curious. Quick question for you: if you knew anybody that was thinking of selling their home, if they could get the right price for their house, if you knew anybody along those lines.
I don't talk much to my neighbors, but no, I don't know anybody in my area. No.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, hey, look. Before I let you go, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
It's Ron.
Oh, hey, Ron. Isaiah here. Ron, before I let you go, how about yourself? If have you ever thought about selling your home and seeing what you could get, testing the market and seeing what you get for your home?
Well, if I tested the market, wouldn't I have to sell it?
Yeah, well, obviously that would be the idea. And the reason why that I bring it up, I don't know if you know what's happening in the market right now, Ron, but basically houses that are going on the market are going for 10, sometimes 5, 10, 15% over the asking price. It's absolutely wild right now. There's not enough inventory. There's more buyers than there are sellers. So it really puts a seller in a unique position. Really, you haven't seen this in a long, long time. So just out of curiosity, if you did consider selling, would you stay in the area? Would you move out of the area?
No, I really like it here.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So you'd stay in the area?
Yeah, right here in my house.
Okay. Got it. If you needed, so just on a high level, if you could get the right price for the home and find a home where you could stay in a similar area, that'd be a conversation that would be worth having, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. I got a beautiful home. It's probably worth a lot more than houses you're selling around here. I'll tell you right now.
That's fair.
Beautiful home.
That's fair. When's the last time you actually got a valuation on the home?
1941.
Really? 1941. Okay.
When I
Have
bought
you
it.
done any, I'm assuming you've done some improvements to the property, some different things between now and 1941?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We take good care of the house. It's beautiful. Wait, beautiful.
Well, I'm actually looking at
new.
I'm looking at the area. It looks like from the outside, it looks like a beautiful home, Ron. It looks
I got a
absolutely
big
gorgeous.
yard too. Big yard, beautiful.
Yep, I
Lots
see
of
that.
flowers.
You got
I got a
you got
big
dogs?
tree. Huh? Oh,
You
I
got dogs? It looks like you got, yeah?
I got 2 dogs.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. What kind of dogs, out of curiosity?
I got a cockapoo and a multi-poo.
Okay. If you did move, I'm assuming that you'd have to make room for them at the other place, right?
Oh, you gotta have a fenced yard. I gotta have a fenced yard.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Totally get it. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be in the neighborhood because of the activity that's happening. What I'd like to do, Ron, is just stop by and preview the property. I think you owe it to yourself to at least get a home value, and just have a discovery meeting to see if it makes sense to maybe do something in the near future, or even down the road for yourself, given given the value that you could get for your home. So I'm going to be in the neighborhood like later today around 5, or I could stop by and meet you maybe like 3 o'clock tomorrow. What do you think would work better for you?
Well, I got a kumbari. He's an agent, and he's a good man. He's an honest man, and
Yeah.
I would probably talk to him.
Okay. Now, when you say kumbari, I'm assuming, Ron, you're Italian.
Yeah, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny that you bring it up. My mom's side are Maranos.
Oh,
Actually, really well known out of Buffalo. You've heard of the Maranos?
No, I heard. I that's an Italian name though. That's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Absolutely.
the other side of you?
Oh boy, German, Irish, American Indian, a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I totally respect, Ron, the trust factor. And here's the deal. If I don't think I can help you, or you don't feel like you can trust me, I would never ask for the listing. Is that fair?
Well, I think you're a nice enough man. I mean, I'd love to show you my house if you want to come over, waste your time. Come on over.
Well, yeah. Well, let me ask you, if things did line up, is it a consideration in the near future to potentially sell your home?
It would all depend on the price, and then
Fair enough.
where am I going to go? I got to be able to find that place.
Well, ideally, what would that look like? Would you like to keep the same type of home? Would you like to would you like to downsize, upsize? What would that look like? Just out of curiosity.
Gotta be a ranch. A ranch.
A ranch. Oh, I love ranches. You get more square footage for ranches than almost any other house, and it's really nice too, especially if you got grandkids, because you don't have to worry about them going up and down the stairs. Do you got grandkids, out of curiosity?
Yeah, I got too many. They're always.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll also bring I'll look at what's in the market for ranches when I come to the meeting, just for pure curiosity's sake. So you can take a peek at that as well, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Well, on the way though, bring a little prosciutto. I like a little sandwich when you bring it. Bring me not a tin of cookies. The other guy brought a tin of cookies.
How about some cookies? All right. That sounds good. So I'll stop over at 3 o'clock tomorrow. If you could do me a huge favor, okay, and just write my number down, okay? I'm going to send you a quick text message and also an email with just some information about me. I'd like you to take a look at it before I come out and give you an idea of some of the things I've done for some other clients. Is that cool?
Yeah, that would be wonderful there.
Okay.
Mr. Isaiah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep, it's Isaiah. Like the Old Testament, you can't forget it. All right?
That's right.
All right. Sounds good. I'll see you at 3.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. That was great, Ron. You're keeping me on my toes for sure. You're keeping me on my toes.
I didn't want to hurt you too bad, but I did want to keep you going.
I liked it. It was good.
Fun. That was fun.
That was fun. All right. Beat me up, guys.
It's tough to, after Ron beat you all up. I know what it's like to role play with Ron. So he makes it tough. And what I thought that you rolled I like to do this whole get away from where I'm currently at when I get hit with that. I don't want to talk about anything, and Ron shuts the door. And I thought that you did a really good job of taking the conversation elsewhere, right? You didn't concentrate on the point when he wanted to shut you down at I'm not really. I like my place here. I like this house. When you got into, that he hadn't had an evaluation since he bought it in 1948, 41, whatever it was. I liked how you got away from the no, or the I'm not really on it interested, and that slowly brought you back to a spot where you could ask him about, a drink. And when you brought it right out of him at one point, it's all about price. You took a guy who wasn't even interested, and you were able, by getting away from it at first. If you would have attacked that at first, you'd have lost him altogether. But because you got outside of that, just started talking about him and developing some rapport, you were able to get to, hey, it's about price.
Good. Thank you. That's good.
Usually when I shut guys down, when we were role playing and things like that, it's because you start a conflict. He never started a conflict with me. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of what a nice young man. I was actually thinking this. I'm going, no, I'm just playing with this guy. What am I thinking this for? But seriously, there was never a conflict, ever.
Right.
Didn't feel uncomfortable, liked him. It was like, oh, okay. Come on, waste your time. I don't care.
Right. I heard that, and if you notice, I tried to qualify you again a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I try to qualify you a little bit there. So, that's where you got to kind of feel it out, because you're fishing upstream. But I want to make sure I'm not completely wasting my time. Right. So that's where you got to kind of make a judgment call, and that's why it's building rapport and qualifying. So where they are in the sales cycle, so you know how to approach it. Good. So we're at 2:30. We're at 2:31. Any feedback here, from the clients about that call? Any questions before we wrap up? And next week we're going to put the For Sale by Owner script on the table, and go through that script next week with a little bit of a different objections. So, Ron cracks me up. Great pivoting. Thank you, April. Awesome. Great call. Great meeting.
You got to come to some of my training classes.
Yeah, that's right. And it's important, guys. We want to make sure you guys are finding this valuable, and just feel free to be upfront and honest. Is this valuable to you, us doing this? And also, what if anything could we do to make this better for you guys? So any feedback in the chat? April says very valuable. Awesome. Thank you, April. And if there's anything that we can do, I just shared the forward with my team. Awesome. Great. The Vorkis is great. Awesome. And we just sincerely want to make sure we're delivering value every single time we do these, and that you guys are able to take something and get out of it. And so I think the action step from here is take a look at that 7-step document and ask yourself, how can you incorporate it in your daily sales and marketing process that you have? And I promise you, if you stuck with it and you have dialogue, even if you just start creating dialogue around these 7 steps and you stick with that with your team, and you start putting it at the center of your sales process and your prospecting process, you'll start seeing your conversion rates go up 5 to 10% within about 3 months. Okay. So that's my promise to you. If you're willing to kind of incorporate this and stick with it. And I want you to imagine, even on your current leads that you have, if you saw an uptick per 100 leads, right? If you saw a 5% uptick per 100 leads, what that could do, right? Just to put it in perspective. Or if you saw a 2% uptick per 100 leads in the conversion to closing, what that does to your bottom line if you're spending money on those leads anyway. And that's why it's so important to do these type of things and to pay attention on lead conversion, because, and I'll leave you with this, pay attention to lead conversion, things you can do to always improve your lead conversion, because you're spending a lot of money, and it's important, when to generate these leads, or spending money on geographical farming, whatever it may be. So it's important to focus on what is happening with your lead conversion and hone in on it and constantly find ways to improve it. This scorecard will help you do that. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Beatty. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Christina. I hope everyone has an awesome rest of the week. And next week, we're going to go into for sale by owners. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one too. And talk to you guys then.
Thank you, guys.
See you later.